Okay, freedom of information.
Freedom of information actually is the point just being made about the Freedom of Information Act. I think it's interesting to note that within the UK there are only 2 incidences of cabinet minutes which have been held secret. One was the decision over the Iraq War, which you can understand that debate being sort of like highly topical and contentious, and so there may be an argument, I don't know. And the other one, and the only other example of cabinet, and we've repeatedly tried to get them released, was the discussions taking place over devolution and the actual creation of Scottish, Welsh and Northern Irish parliaments, but no English parliament. And those debates, despite repeated requests, have been locked away and we are refusing to release them. So yes, I do believe freedom of information is extremely important, because those debates were how they disadvantaged the people of England and made us second-class citizens in our country, and we aren't even allowed to know what discussions took place and who said what.
And that's the English Democrat perspective.
Indeed.
We're veering off topic here, but the other one is HS2. Was the report on HS2 where some of the issues that were raised about that, in terms of some of the concerns about it, as to whether it was or was not a good idea. That report was also.
If you hadn't
back to the European level.
I keep forgetting the Greens are against HS2. It's extraordinary, isn't it?
Not just the Greens, we are as well.
You're welcome to each
We have a
other.
complete divide in our coalition policies.
But you mentioned Tony Blair. Didn't Tony Blair say that freedom of information is his greatest regret from his time as Prime Minister?
Yes, he did say that.
Extraordinary statement.
I'm not defending him.
No.
The day I defend Tony Blair.
We're slapping ourselves back a lot here. I've got to say, Sweden has a much stronger culture of freedom of information than we do. A constitutional right to walk into any office and look at the documents. And I understand when they joined
the mid-1700s, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. So I understand when they joined the EU, they had to negotiate a special exemption to be allowed to keep doing this or something. It's because the EU wasn't as up to speed as they are. It does mean, your tax affair. We're all very shocked at the moment at the possibility of tax information pseudonymised being sold off or released in Sweden. Your tax information is there to be looked at by anybody. So. It's you might get more than you wish for if you don't have.
You've got nothing to hide.
Maybe they're right.
Right, I'd just like to ask the candidates just to give us a quick closing statement, and then we'll go home. I'm sorry. Further questions? Those hands weren't up before. Yeah. Good question.
I've certainly learned things. One of the great things about events such as this is you test out your views. I'm not an expert on digital rights at all. It's not my specialism. But it's certainly be doing a bit of swatting up for it. Not enough. But you certainly get to test out ideas and see where you are. I think so. It's valuable from that point of view.
I do think it's an interesting issue because I work in IT. I'm a programmer, so I'm very aware of all these issues because they have been very well debated. Because the internet and the whole digital revolution is completely transforming our society, and I suppose we're the first to really start discussing it before it gets out into wider society. So I do think it's a very important discussion, and it's an important discussion that shouldn't just take place within the IT field, which is largely where it has been taking place up till now. We should be involving the whole of society in this because it's so important. And people underestimate the amount of changes that they'll see in 10 years. They overestimate what they'll see in a year and underestimate in 10 years. Society is going to get completely transformed in a very short period of time. And people should be aware of that. And of course, one of the issues we have with our legislatures is the fact that they're full of lawyers. And they don't have...
Funny that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's funny that, yeah. They don't have the wide range of expertise that a proper People's Assembly should have. So we should have a wider perspective being made available.
Okay, Joe Otten and Michael Naughton, have you learned anything from the other candidates this evening?
From the other candidates, or from the
debate as a whole?
No, yeah, I think I have. I've got a clear idea of the details, the intention behind this charter, and like I say, I welcome it. I'm still not quite ready to sign it. I'm quite happy to sit down and talk through all the small print, but I think, yeah.
Okay.
And following on from that, I think there's a surprising amount of consensus. We're starting to recognise the same faces because we go to Hustings to discuss energy policy or the Open Society Initiative and so on. Frankly, fellas, I think we agree mostly on the fundamentals and disagree slightly on the degree to which we should go.
That's probably fair.
And that's the rather unromantic conclusion, really. It's always better, especially when UKIP are here, when we start having fireworks and everybody starts shouting and swearing and the whole thing goes into a big fight. As of what I've learned, I completely understand where you're coming from, I think. There are a couple of points, and I wonder if the drafting might be here. I will defend unrestricted access to the internet. That's one point that, frankly, I wouldn't support. And I will promote I will defend the principle of multi-stakeholderism. Again, I'm not quite sure what you mean, in all honesty. I'm not quite sure what multi-stakeholderism is. The other 8 points, however, I think are classic conservative values. I think I could stand to all of them.
In the area of internet governance, multi-stakeholderism is lots of different agencies and organisations coming together to decide at an international level how to govern the bolts of the internet.
So would that mean replacing ICANN with something a little bit more representative?
That it would be an improvement on ICANN, which, yes, yeah.
If we're looking for an improvement on ICANN, that is to say American government control of the worldwide internet,
Exactly.
then yes, I would completely support that.
So
and I might point out, if you put that in your study document,
There is more detail of these, but you couldn't print them all off at once. You're going to choose which one to print off. So you need a better printable version, I think, on your...
I'll pass on the
website.
feedback to our colleagues in Brussels.
No, just before we close, I think it's been a fantastic debate. Thank you all for coming, even if it's only been quite a small turnout.
Hold on, you've still got your closing statement.
Well, shall I close now?
No, do you want to start with your closing statement and then...
Well, that's essentially it. I'm quite happy to stay around for the next couple of hours, well, the next half hour, if any of you are still
Couple
here.
of hours.
Do you know, by the way, what time we have the church until?
You'll be turning the lights on.
9 o'clock.
Right, well, I don't know if there's a pub nearby, but if any of you fancy a beer, we could continue there. Nope. Right, that's the
I'll have a beer with you.
Election
Yeah.
expenses.
Well, I think a closing statement is more befitted by mentioning the importance of staying in the European Union for British jobs and for investment into our economy, and the risks to that if we pull out of the EU. Companies like Hitachi and whatnot say we're not going to invest so much in Britain, or our investment decisions will be working against us if we pull out. The importance for fighting crime, cross-border crime. There's a huge range of measures of cooperation agreed by national governments for fighting crime, European arrest warrants, the European investigation order and others. Police forces have said it's all absolutely vital tools in the fight against cross-border crime. Working together on the environment, because pollution doesn't know borders. Again, there are great many measures of which I'm not going to go on about because it's a closing statement, that we're stronger and more effective working together where countries have agreed to cooperate in the European Union. And it's vital we protect all that. We send a message saying this is all very good stuff. Our economy depends on it for a great deal of its prosperity. We stand tall in the world when we stand tall in our own backyard, and send that message. And vote Liberal Democrat. Thank you.
Well, in our case, we are actually opposed to our continued membership of the European Union, which is just a customs union. It's not a free trade area, and this is actually a danger to our liberties. You brought up the example of the European arrest warrant. I think it is an outrage that we can be arrested in this country for a crime that is not even a crime in this country, taken away to another state where they do not have basic principles such as habeas corpus, and effectively left to rot for a year. Some magistrates it doesn't, whether you agree with this or not, it is a basic principle of English liberties, and this is the reason why English Democrats are opposed to our continued membership.
Okay, finally, Andrew Cooper.
Okay, well, a closing statement which is about the hustings, I guess.
Well, yes.
I could tell you about Green Party views about the European Union. I'd be quite happy to, but in terms of this hustings, yeah, if anything, it's helped firm up by support for the Charter. It's been useful to sort of look at these arguments, but and test them out. So happy to support the Charter, and I've already signed it online.
That's okay.
Fantastic. And it's not just something which candidates can sign up for. Citizens can also sign to say that they support it and that they will try to vote for people who do support it. So wepromise.eu is the site to go to if you haven't seen it yet. Open Rights Group are running all sorts of campaigns around all the issues that we've talked about this evening. Mark is the guy who's organising much of the things which we're doing here in Sheffield. So talk to Mark if you'd like to come along to our events in future here in Sheffield, and talk to me afterwards if you want to join or get involved with our campaigns or do any kind of volunteer work for us. That'd be fantastic. I'd just like to thank all of our panellists and everyone here for coming along this evening. I've really enjoyed it, and thank you again. Cheers.
Thank you.